The true place of the church is not to build God's house or build his kingdom. His kingdom is already built. And I think one of the biggest problems with former generations is they're still trying to build something that was already built.
Yeah, because they think that the church is their business.
Right.
They are the CEO of God's church.
Right.
You work for God's church.
You work for God's. And you can, the same way he hired you, it's the same way he can fire you.
What's going on? I'm Pastor Email. I'm here with the great
Jarrell K. Solomon,
master prophet.
Nope.
The golden son of pilgrims. Nope. What they say in the streets.
This is why stuff is always starting. See? All right. I didn't say it. He said it.
We are in the midst of a 3-day revival. We're on night 2 as we're recording this. And I mean, it's been bananas so far. So we just want to have a quick conversation about some stuff. Every time Pastor Solomon and I get together, it's nothing but conversation and laugh. One of the things that people, and this is a real thing, like one of the things that people ask me all the time is, what was it like for us growing up here? I've been here since I was 10. I think, were you born?
I was born here.
He was born here. He's older than me.
I am. I sure
right,
am.
I like to do facts.
But you look older than me. If we're gonna do facts, you got me on our last interview, but I come for revenge.
All right, so what was it like growing up here in Pilgrim? And I don't even mean, and no shade, I don't necessarily mean like Archbishop Brown, but I mean like the culture of Pilgrim, the stuff that people talk about concerning us. What was that like being in the midst of that?
You know, I might get in trouble for this, but it's facts. Pilgrim was the blueprint to not just church in New York City, but church globally.
I believe it, yeah.
Pilgrim was that blueprint church because of what they did, we did. I hate saying they, what we did. From things you just never heard of, very unconventional stuff.
Right, yeah.
And it would wow people. Like, who church does this?
Yeah, Carnegie went to Carnegie Hall.
Carnegie Hall. No one has never to this day rented out a New York to rent out an entire New York transit train to take your church to see an actual Broadway play.
Right.
No one has ever done that but Bishop Roy Brown, Archbishop Roy Brown. And people called him crazy. People was like, it's not going to happen. But we watched Bishop Brown move in the kind of faith. And Pilgrim was a faith church that was constantly seeing the impossible become possible. Yeah, that was the culture. That's
the best way to like. Yep. That's what the culture was. Yep. And it just it felt so much like a community.
Yeah,
it felt like a family, and we spent the entire day in church.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. I know Prophet Solomon's in his face right now. He's doing like coffee shop church. You know, like real quick in and out. Yep. But it's so interesting because we was in church
all day.
I mean, all day.
And because of that, that's why I do coffee. I do coffee church now. I do brunch church. It scarred me.
But you know what was amazing about Bishop? If he wanted to keep you all day, he would feed you.
He would feed you.
We're not talking about sandwiches.
No, we talking about real full-course meals.
For free.
For free.
Free. Drinks,
pies, desserts.
Right?
You had the whole thing.
It was so bonkers to me when I think about that. And I know people think that we're not, over his death, but there's a reason why we talk about him so much. He meant so much to the fabric of who we are, the way we raise our children, the way we are husbands, all that stuff.
Absolutely.
It came from him.
It came from him.
The way I'm sure. What part of your church did you like? I know you guys are very progressive, very different. Are there parts of your church?
Oh, absolutely. The fact that you never
sing hymns?
No, we sing hymns.
Okay.
But we don't. Last time I got into this conversation with somebody, it turned out really bad. So I want to be very careful with this.
Okay.
We sing hymns, but we do not force hymns.
Okay.
But we do every now and again take it back to, and the reason why is because we have a church that about 80% of our church is not from church.
Okay, I hear you.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to force on them
What was forced on
what
you?
was forced on me. Be careful with that too.
It is so. The hymns are in us.
They're in us.
I mean, be playing somewhere, and just because you're from Pilgrim, you find yourself just like, and we know all.
We know all of them.
We just know
hymns.
hymns.
I think people look at me as to say, he needs to learn some. You'll be surprised. We know all the hymns.
Yeah, we do. We really.
But
do. And they have a special place for us.
It has a very
triggers something.
And when I'm home, those hymns, y'all will always see me with those hymns coming out of me.
Okay.
I'll sing it when I'm home, or if I'm in a more traditional church. Mm-hmm. Oh, that pilgrim is gonna come up out of me. But pilgrim in my church, the pieces in my church.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about.
Is you never know what you're gonna walk into.
Oh, that's Pilgrim Church, yeah.
That's Pilgrim. You just never knew. Week after week after week, Bishop Brown was known for changing the furniture. And I'm not talking about just changing it from one side to the other side. I'm literally talking about changing the furniture. Like, he has a warehouse full of furniture that he would change just about every other week. And that always kept us like, man, what is it gonna look like today?
We were just always ready, yeah.
We were always ready.
We were
and expectation of you just never knew what was gonna happen.
Yeah. Never knew which direction he was gonna go.
Yeah.
If he was just gonna preach for 2 hours, if he was gonna prophesy, if he was gonna have a line of just praying for people,
Absolutely.
if he was just gonna teach.
Yep.
And I guess
so that's the that part is what's really sketched into my church, just always shifting and changing, never becoming stale or just the same thing over and over, but always evolving.
Right, yeah. Now that's definitely Archbishop Brown.
Absolutely.
You said something yesterday while you were preaching it. You said that the church, the intention, the direction of the church is shifting. You said something like it's going from being what's necessary to what's popular, what's important to what's popular. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Where are you prophetically with the understanding of where the church is going, and where did that come from when you said that?
I believe the church is in a place where we post-pandemic, we were against change. Even though we knew change was happening.
Okay.
We were still against it. But now here we are some years after pandemic now, and we have been forced to change.
Yeah. Do you find that people are trying to make their way back to what was before the pandemic?
I believe some are.
Yeah.
I believe a great percentage is.
A bigger percentage that should
because they don't know how to function in something new.
Okay.
So they're only going to revert back to what they know. And I think the problem with that is they're not willing to allow those who do know how to function in this new change to go ahead and lead. Why? One, because they might be younger than them.
Okay.
Or they might be not the best person that they probably adapt to.
Okay.
I think that if you want to excel even in ministry, that you have to pull on whoever has the ability to adjust and embrace what's happening in that moment.
That's so good.
If not, you will allow yourself, your pride, that's why pride cometh before fall, right? Because your pride gets in the way so much that you don't even realize that you are being left behind, all because you do not want someone either who's younger than you or someone who you might not normally connect with to lead out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to be able to go, you know what, it's not about that. Whether I agree with you, whether I'm not, we're that close or not, obviously you have it right now.
Right.
And guess what? I'm going to get behind you and I'm
so
going.
What is that? And this is a genuine question. What is that resistance that I saw it firsthand, right? I transitioned. I don't have a church, but we had a youth department. Mm-hmm. He started and I took over, but I knew exactly when it was time for me to transition out. Mm-hmm. My passion didn't wane, but my attention did.
Yeah.
I realized that there was someone behind me who could pay more attention to it. And I love the things of God so much that I didn't want to be neglectful. Right? So I knew that.
Did you hear what you just said? You love the things of God so much.
So much.
That you would not allow yourself to get in the way of kingdom advancing, right? that's not the it for a lot of these individuals out here, or people out here, or leadership out here.
Okay.
They love God, but not to the point to where they will allow.
So you would negate that to their relationship and their love to God?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because if you love God that much, you would move out the way. If it requires you to move out the way so that there will be no delays, no holdups, then you'll say, yo, God, I love you enough to go, let me get out of the way because I can be the cause of delay right now.
Wow.
I love you that much that if I have to be moved off the scene or if I have to be moved to the sideline, you know what? I move to the sideline and cheer on who's ever on the field right now because I love you that much.
Right, yeah. I think sometimes we also kick into self-preservation mode where, and Archbishop used to always talk about this, is the law of nature is the survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
But the law of grace is others first.
Absolutely.
I miss Bishop, man.
Yeah, dude.
I'm sorry.
I
miss his wisdom. I miss his love. I just miss the covering of a father, man.
Yeah.
I miss him so much. And I didn't expect to miss him. And I hope this doesn't come off wrong. I didn't expect to miss him as much as I do. But anyway, I think we kick into this self-preservation mode.
Yeah.
I see a lot of that. If I'm shifting to you, what does it mean for me? But when you're in relationship with God, it's always about what does it mean to him.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I think we need to figure out how do we get that message across to the church.
I think the only way that message can actually get across to the church is if the church understands their true place. And the true place of the church is not to build God's house or build his kingdom. His kingdom is already built. And I think one of the biggest problems with former generations is they're still trying to build something that was already built.
Yeah, because they think that the church is their business.
Right.
They are the CEO of God's church.
Right.
You work for God's church.
You work for God's. And you can, the same way he hired you, it's the same way he can fire you. You know, so
that is such a reality check for me. I'm always mindful of like, these are not my people.
Yeah.
I don't have ownership of. That's when you sort of sometimes go into cultish behavior.
That's what cultish behavior is produced from. It starts with we start beginning to lord over sheep that are not ours. We're under shepherds, not over shepherds.
Yeah.
We are not over shepherds.
Who told you that? Where'd you get that from? Where'd you get that from?
I'm very exquisite in the word of God. I might be a little slow outside of it, but
that's true.
Yeah.
No, I was agreeing. Tonight you preach. Agree.
Yeah. But that's
man, that's so good though.
We are not builders of God's kingdom. We are advancers. The kingdom is already here, was here before we got here.
Wow.
We are now on the scene to further advance, evolve the kingdom of God, not build something that's already built. But a lot of the former generations has this mindset of, I'm building God's kingdom. Because when you build something, you automatically think you should be paid for it. Whether it's by way of monetary or by way of lordship.
Yeah, honor. Sometimes we can over-honor.
Over-honor, right?
Over-honor is worship.
Absolutely.
And I say that all the time to the young guys who sit with me is the church is guilty of building the idols that we've told people not to worship.
Yes.
And that is so good.
And I think it's so funny you said that because I really believe that that's why like millennials and Gen Z are so, I don't even want to use the word against because that's a harsh word, but these newer generations are against how serving look in the kingdom. I'm gonna get in trouble. How serving look in the kingdom.
Okay.
Because, and I'm not saying that was here at Pilgrim. I'm talking about because Bishop Brown didn't play that. He made it very clear. He made it very clear. I'm not your God. Yeah. You don't serve me.
He would say, you're not going to get me in trouble.
Absolutely. God is a jealous God, right? But the generations that we are currently living in, these generations, as millennials, then the Gen Zs who are now here, it's not that they don't want to serve.
Okay.
It's what they have heard and millennials have seen serving to be.
Okay.
Because serving has become, it looks like waiting
Slavery.
hand and foot on the man and woman. There are a lot of individuals, believers, who serve man better than they serve God. They serve their leaders.
Do you find, because you, for the most part, you would say your church is millennial Gen Z, right?
Yeah.
Do you have mothers? Like,
Oh, I do, yeah.
yeah, but it's like, what, a handful? It's not much.
It's not much, no.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you find that it's hard teaching them to serve? Because one of the things that we grew up with, right, it was an honor to ride with Archbishop.
Absolutely.
To drive Archbishop.
Absolutely.
I drove him one time and he was like, how long you had your license? And I never drove him again. But that one time was an honor.
Absolutely.
Being around him, being in the same room with him was an honor. Serving him. I used to, for years, warm Bishop Crow's car, right? I felt like, I know it sounds silly, but it meant so much to me just to do that little thing for her. Do you find that millennials, Gen Z, we didn't leave the building to Bishop left the building.
That's right. That's right.
If you were married, your wives understood that.
They understood.
Do you find that stuff is the same?
That's a good question, Email.
Is that Did you think that's serving?
Well, as you remember, as I served, I would wait around for Bishop. I would stay here and beg my mother, and he'll tell my mother, Dolores, I'll bring him home.
Okay.
When I had school the next day, I just wanted to be here and stay with him because I loved serving him. Yeah. Here's the piece that the answer to your question. As you see the young guys that I don't even like to use the word serve. Yeah. Because
my wife was always like, don't lie, you have to call it.
in this era, the word serve in church it sounds like the word I slave for. Okay. That's how how former generations made it to look. Okay. Right? So I'm very even careful with serving. I use the word assisting. Okay. And the reason why I use the word, especially with these generations, because these generations that we're in now, they look at serving. It's not that they don't want to serve. They want to make sure they are serving and not slaving. Okay. The moment they feel like I'm becoming a slave to this or to you, it's the moment it scares them away. So like the young guys you see with me or what have you, I didn't ask these guys to serve me or assist me. Okay. They actually asked me. Okay. Right? That comes out of watching how I handle and treat those who works or who's around me. Right. You know, I can't treat them no less than I treat my executive pastor. Right. I can't treat them no less than I treat, the bishop. I can't treat them. Yes, different titles. Yeah. But you're not treated no less than. So I teach. They assist me. Yeah. Out of desire to. Yeah. Without feeling like this is a job. It's more of an honor. Yeah. I think that's what I try my best to do with the young men who are around me is I want them to see it as a privilege. Yeah. That I can carry my own bag. I'm quite capable. But while you're carrying my bag, I'm talking to you. Absolutely. I'm asking becoming
you questions.
relatable to them.
You know what I mean?
It's not your job.
I used to see the men around Bishop, and I used to always be like, man, I wanted to be there. And then God gave me my own group of young men, young ladies who will submit to that understanding of what I am to their life. But it's always like I want you to be here with me. Absolutely. And that's different
and
from
be in it
serving.
with me.
Yeah.
I also look at it in the sense of that's why I hate members. Okay. I hate the word members. So even at our church, we don't use if you want to be a member of this church. What is it? If you want to be a partner. Okay. And the reason why I use the term partner or we use the word partner is because I want them to feel like they are assisting advancing this vision. Not I'm a member of a club. Yeah. I am assisting. So if you want to partner, because the moment you partner with us, that literally says that I'm partnering with your vision to help advance.
It means you're a part of it.
You're a part of it.
Yeah, it's not just about
it's
me.
It's not just,
we're doing
I have
together.
A membership number and I'm on a membership roll.
And also, you're still the leader. Yeah. Right? Yeah. It's not a challenge to you. It doesn't mean that because I'm partnering with you that I'm not the pastor. Absolutely. I think that's something else is like we need to change or have a better understanding of what a leader is. Yeah. Like a leader doesn't mean that where you sit. I can still be Pastor Email if I'm in the back of the church, if I'm in the balcony.
That's right.
I am called to be what I am, no matter where I am.
I think what we've watched was, and we hear this a lot, there's a reason why you sit on the pulpit, because you want to distinct between, I don't sit on we don't have a stage. I sit, even if we had I sit with my people because I want them to understand.
That's different.
Yeah, it's different, right?
It's different.
I sit with them because I want them to know that as much as I'm your leader, I can't do this
without you. Yeah.
The only difference that separate me is our callings.
Yeah.
Our offices.
Yeah. I understand that so much. And I think the reason why I'm not going to say against, but I prefer not to sit up, even though we do here. But I realize that when you sit up, you don't participate in the service. You are the service.
You are the service.
Every time I look out in the audience,
the service.
I'm locking eyes with someone.
Absolutely.
Because they're watching me instead of watching what they should be.
Absolutely.
And that, to me, doesn't feel so great, you know what I mean? So that's very important. I think it's very important.
Those are the pieces that I try not to overdo. I know our dress code, even down to our dress code. Like I'm like, man, listen, you mean to tell me we cannot worship God by way of what we have on? Yeah. Worship is not what you have on. Worship is what you give to God.
Worship is where your heart is.
It's where your heart is.
It's where your heart is. And we have some people who they are dressed head to toe with cloth, whatever, pray, but they're horrible people.
They are harsh.
Do you think God is honoring your attire over your worship?
No way. Man,
that's so good.
No way, bro. So I believe prophetically where the church is headed, it is headed in a direction that's unstoppable. And what's going to happen is, if you don't get with what God is doing, here it is. He's not going to force you to be a part. I don't care what your office is in the church. He hired you, he can fire you. If you decide not to get with it, you can keep your church doors open, but doesn't mean he's there.
Wow.
That's the thing. And a lot of churches are worshiping in their buildings, and God is not there.
Just because it's Sunday.
Just because it's Sunday.
It's just something we do on a Sunday.
And what they think they're feeling is just years of routine. Ooh. It's years. They don't even realize that the presence of God is no longer there. Yeah. So they think just because we're worshiping and we're praising and we're shouting and we're dancing and even preaching that God is here. No, because guess what? All of that is a part of what you have done for years. Yeah. You've done it so much that you've mastered it to the extent that you don't even realize that he's no longer present. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So just because you have church doors open.
What are the signs that we know for sure that God is wherever we are? How do we know miracles, that God is in the church?
Signs and wonders. Yeah. You know, when you can see God turn someone's life. I'm not talking about a believer. I'm talking about someone who don't believe. That's that God is here. Yeah. When you see miracles such as healings, that can only happen if God is present. Right. These are signs that tells us that God's presence is inevitable and his presence dwells in that particular place. Yeah. Or what have you. But if you're not seeing none of that, and it's a constant thing, you have to start asking yourself a question like,
what's happening?
Yeah,
and I think as a believer too, sign that you are in the right place is growth. Right? Growth. You worship, but how intense has your worship? Like, I don't worship the same way I worshiped when I was 12. Right. You know what I mean? Right. I don't even read scripture the way I read it when I was 12. Right. So when you're in a place and you know you're in the right place, the presence of God is there, it will cultivate a level of growth. Your worship is different. How you talk to God is different. Your vocabulary is extended. I think those are the signs.
Even the things you ask God for it's different now.
Okay. Yeah.
Even the things you ask God for is different now. You're not really finding yourself asking for material stuff like that no more. You're asking God for stuff like, Lord, fix my heart.
Yep.
God, don't take your hand off me, please. Lord, whatever you do,
that's where
keep your oil on me.
Sometimes I'm just like, God, just help.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not even like it's no list. It's God, just
stuff
help.
that literally matters to a mature believer now.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
That's so true.
And one more thing I want to say about that is you said growth, bro. That is so keen. That's how you know God's presence. Some people say this, which I really want to kind of argue, and that is,
you love an argument.
I love an argument.
Good God, this man
I love an argument. You know I'm for it.
Yeah,
I show up to arguments. Let's go. But I argue the point of God don't want every church to be a big church. And I'm not saying that you have to have hundreds and thousands of members. But if you say growth, right? The way you know God is present, and he addeth to the church daily. If I look around and we've been here for 6, 7, 15, 13 years with the same people, we got to start asking ourselves a question. Are we supposed to be here? And he added growth. Who wants to keep showing up to see the same faces over and over and over again? If I look around for 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, 12, after a while, I got to start asking myself a question. Is this really a church that's been called by God, assigned and planted by God? Or is this, because you're supposed to, the kingdom is supposed to enlarge.
It's supposed to expand.
It's supposed to expand.
And the only thing that's grown is our titles. We just being elevated and
all of these elevations.
You being elevated and promoted.
Did you just
elevated and promoted.
Lord.
But your responsibility hasn't shifted. Your churches haven't changed. Your ministry hasn't
I don't
grown.
understand bishops over 15-member churches. I don't get this stuff. It doesn't. I've been pastoring now for 7 years.
Okay.
I have multiple campuses. I have a consistent growing church. Every time that has been pushed on me, I've said, no, I've denied it. You have to desire that office. So if it's being given to you, you have the responsibility to say, I don't want it.
Yeah.
But if you accept it knowing that you look behind you and you're not bishoping over nobody, that's just hey, no, I'm not ready for that.
Yeah.
But we don't do that.
And you know, the interesting thing about you is, even if you don't have 1 million people in your church, you still have ideas and vision. You produce leaders.
Yeah.
So if anybody's like, okay, let them be, and that's another thing, is like bishops, where are the leaders that are coming out of you?
Bishops
you have to
create leaders.
That's it.
Bishop creates
doesn't mean
leaders,
you just continue doing what you're doing.
That's right.
I don't know, man. I don't know where that misunderstanding has come from.
I have people who are older than me that's committed to me.
Yeah.
Pastor Reggie was in another room. Well, he's older than me, but he's committed to me, and he assists. He serves at the campus in Jersey. What have you? What draws
they like about you?
Huh?
What they like about you?
First of all, it's the anointing. Let's start there. They're attracted to the anointing. Okay. And then after that, then they're attracted to, I am a nice guy.
Yeah, so what, I was being serious. You know the thing about Solomon, he always thinks I'm joking. I'm being serious. So someone who, and this is a real question, someone who is saying, okay, Pastor Solomon, I want to submit my ministry to your covering. Mm-hmm. What are you as a leader, what are you doing? What is
developing.
Okay.
Now here's my thing though. I'm not going to pacify you.
Okay.
You even know this from when you was working under me, and you was my assistant. And yes, because he did work under me. He was my assistant. Yes. Uh-huh.
And so, how do I know what you're talking about now?
Because I developed you.
You ever see somebody trying to take credit for something? No, sir. God developed me.
Amen. God did it ultimately.
No, but you did. And I always say this to him.
Just playing.
You did unlock a level of love for ministry in me that I just didn't know. Honestly, I loved God, but I wasn't interested in ministry. Mm-hmm. That's the truth. Mm-hmm. And then when I started assisting you, it was like, I felt like, oh man, this is something that God has really called me to do. And then my Archbishop, my dad unlocked it, laid his hand, and if it wasn't for a bishop who positioned me, I don't know where I would be.
But that's really what the off. Let me stop because that can get us in trouble. Email.
It's okay. You have more friends than me. What am I in trouble with?
I don't know why you keep thinking I got more friends than you. I don't have friends like that. Everybody know that.
But that
folks said something at a service the other night and said he made an appearance. I was like, and this is going to be the last appearance for a long time.
Solo show.
It's going to be the last appearance.
You know why? Because when you're, and you said it last night, first night of Revive. You're like, it's not that I'm
not
better.
cocky. I'm not better. I'm not greater.
But I'm just different. And sometimes different will make you so uncomfortable in regular situations. I've never expected that. But everybody's regular and I'm uncomfortable.
Different will make you unpopular.
Yeah. 100%.
Unpopular by the Roach Motel.
Okay, I don't know that analogy.
By those who matter.
Okay.
In other words, it makes you unpopular by the peanut gallery people.
Okay.
But makes you popular with people who hold weight.
Yeah.
Because heavyweights know heavyweights.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So.
Okay, that's us.
Oh.
That's our timer because Prophet has to go.
I have a schedule.
He has a very big schedule. We're going to do this again. We're going to do some more content. I love having conversations with you.
This is always good when we do it.
Because it's
real.
It's so real.
It's
so
real.
Good.
It's real.
Thank y'all for watching. Pastor is the senior leader because he's 40 now, so I can say senior.
I'm the lead
leader.
pastor.
So you don't use senior?
No, I don't.
But
I'm the lead
40,
pastor.
You're closer to senior than you are.
Hey, man, I'm the lead pastor.
He's the lead pastor of Excelling Churches. They're all over America. Follow him. Subscribe, all that great stuff to what he's doing. Support us. We love y'all. We out.
And Email is doing a great and phenomenal job. Follow him. Believe it or not, he's one of the rising voices of New York City.
Yeah, believe it or not.
Trust me when I tell you.
Believe it or not.
Believe it or not. I
I
did well with
appreciate
him.
you. Yo, I'm done. We out. We love y'all. We talk to y'all later.